Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with the Last Huntsman channel here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a new knife review. And the knife in question here is going to be the Exodus Knife and Tool Jackalope. Now, first thing first, this is a prototype. This is not exactly 100% exactly what it's going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and do a review on it. Let's start checking out this knife. Okay, so the Jackalope is the bigger sidekick to the AdventureCraft, and as you guys may have remembered, I already did a video on the AdventureCraft, so you might check that video out. This is just a bigger version, and other than the fact that it's a little bit more broader blade, longer, and a more fuller, much more comfortable handle, it's actually the exact same knife and same thinness. They're both 1/8 of an inch thick. They're both made of 1084 carbon steel, and they're both designed by Jacob with the Prepper's Bunker Outdoor and his company Exodus Knife and Tool. I'm going to do some more batoning here with the Exodus Knife and Tool Jackalope. Now, this knife is only 1/8 of an inch thick, so it's not going to be doing some super batoning, but for some of your just light camp tasks and such, it'll do the trick just fine. Alright, so I got the Exodus Knife and Tool Jackalope out here. Test I'm going to be trying with this, and I'm just going to see how well I carve up this hedge apple. It's kind of a thick, beefy thing. It's quite a bit tougher than most of your fruits and vegetables you'll find. These obviously come off hedge trees, or some people call them Osage trees. These aren't really consumable by humans per se, but they're squirrels and other critters eat on them. Alright, so a task I'm going to try with this Jackalope here is I'm going to be doing some notches with it here. So I'm going to try just your basic square notch. pretty much perfect. Try just a regular notch, something you'd use for tent stakes and such. It's like its smaller brother. This knife does really great fine crafting type of task. That's why I keep it in my pack, is just because it's just so great for doing common tasks like making notches and feather sticks and slicing and just about anything you would do common knife task for. Alright, so this test where everybody cringes, but I'm gonna do a tip test real quick. Tip on this is really thin, just like the AdventureCraft. I'm gonna go buck wild with it because it's not, but as we can see, it still holds true to the form, even though it's a super thin tip. Alright, so the Jackalope, or at least for me, came with a Kydex Sheath. This Kydex Sheath ain't exactly like the best sheath in the world, personally, but I think there's a couple things that can be improved upon. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that the belt loop here is actually part of the sheath. And I actually think they should just make the sheath straight up plain with nothing, and then actually allow you to attach your own belt loop or, tech lock or whatever. That's just one small criticism on the sheath, but it's always nice to get Kydex, so it's hard to complain. As for the knife, thus far, as you guys will see in video, I really like this knife overall. I keep this knife in my bag all the time, and the reason being is it's so handy for fine little tasks. Like sometimes I'll be out here and bring like a Becker PK7 with me or something, but don't have something that can do just those fine little handy tasks. And while this one, the AdventureCraft, fills that role pretty well, I'm actually going to lean more towards the Jackalope. So right off the bat, I'm going to say, of these two, I personally kind of like the Jackalope. Not saying anything against the AdventureCraft. I gave it a great review, and I still stand by that. But I think the Jackalope is just that much better. So it can do a lot of the same stuff as the AdventureCraft, but just a little more. And so what do I think this knife would be great for? I think this would be like the ideal camping backpackers slash kind of hunting knife. This thing, as you can see, can skin really well. It can slice and cut through meat and produce pretty well as well. I also think, like I said, it can do some camp tasks, so like light batoning, slicing, feather sticking. It does really good at feather sticking, by the way. That's actually one of the things I found that I like the best on it, and I'm not good at feather sticking. So having a knife that helps do that for me, I'm gonna be all praised for, because I'm not particularly great at it, but this knife does a lot. So another task I'm going to try using the 90-degree spine, which I'm glad that they did with this, is I've done ferro rod, but I'm going to do some deep barking and stuff, because you can actually generate some decent fluff. Alright, something else to discuss about the Jackalope here, and this also kind of pertains to the AdventureCraft, is they're going to be offering, from what I understand, quite a few different types of finishes and coatings and stuff that you can get for these. And like for example, this AdventureCraft here, I got it in just plain raw steel, which kind of has a real rustic kind of look to it now. But the AdventureCraft that I got here, it actually is, I got that all mixed up. The Jackalope that I have here, it actually has Parkerized finish. Now I've used this knife quite a bit and been carrying it around and such, and that Parkerization, I'm actually quite surprised by how well it holds up. So kind of give another size comparison. I showed it against the AdventureCraft, but I know the AdventureCraft is not like a super common knife. So this is the Jackalope. This is the SE3. They're overall lengthwise pretty close to the same, exception for Jackalope. It probably has about I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch slightly longer overall. Blades are a little longer on the Jackalope, and obviously the SE3 is much broader than the Jackalope. So that's just a kind of a size. Alright, so my overall impressions on the Exodus Knife and Tool Jackalope, and hopefully it's coming out before too long, is I really like this knife. To be 100% honest, like I said, I think I like it better than the AdventureCraft thus far. I think the AdventureCraft can probably do some really fine tasks, but this thing's going to do just pretty much anything you need it to, and it's just a little more bigger, a little more robust, and a little more fuller in hand to use for a prolonged period of time. So with that being said, I like this a little better than I do actually the AdventureCraft. I think both are great knives. I would suggest both. Go check out Jacob at the Prepper's Bunker Outdoor. He has a great channel, and he's the one who designed these knives. These excellent knives, I should say. With all that being said, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless, and carry on.